Okay, folks, this is now the third video because the last two got shut down by themselves. Now, I went ahead and moved, okay, to another spot in order to get out of the sun and to get away from what got captured on the two previous videos. And I want you to know, listen to me very closely. I want you to know this. Okay. Uh, this spot right here was just that bird box, which will probably disappear by the time if I ever am lucky enough to find a lawyer that I can trust and who will work with me. All right. See, because the two other videos got well, I gotta put things carefully. Do they got evidence on them? Okay. Just trust me. You'll understand what this. Now you see that. Okay. All right. So, anyways, I'm just gonna let that statement go there. I gotta stretch out my legs, so bear with me. I just got to this spot, and so now my legs are stretched out. So, I want you to listen very closely to my statements. Okay. Folks, I gotta tell you, what's going on is crazy as hell. Oh, it's beyond crazy. It's beyond criminal insanity. Oh, absolutely. Hold on. I know I keep saying that. Just hold on. Bear with me a second. Okay, so stay with me. Don't walk away. Because I know I'm acting a little bit silly, but just bear with me. Now, what is going on in this country? And by the way, take a snap screenshot of my eyes. Oh, absolutely. Okay. Now, I'm having a somewhat slightly better day today because I was able to get up and get away from my hiking area, but you would not believe what I endured yesterday. And you would not believe what they're doing to my nose. Oh, absolutely. All right, so listen carefully. My name is Leslie Williams, and the type of crime that I am enduring, which tens and tens of thousands, actually hundreds of thousands of my other fellow Americans are enduring every day, the extreme criminal program that is known as gang stalking. I gotta move again because this ground I'm sitting on is not even, and I'm not going to. Bear with me a second. I apologize for the interruptions. Trying to find flatter ground. Okay, so consider this and consider this well. I'm trying to get the term targeted individual out of my vocabulary because I do not like referring to myself as anything except for who I am as a person. But I am a targeted individual, you know. So, and I make quite a lot of videos. I got massive videos that are backlogged like you would not believe. Oh, absolutely. And so, I got in the habit of saying, my name is Leslie Williams. I'm a targeted individual when I make videos, and I don't even like saying that because I don't like that. I just don't like my brain reabsorbing the re-recognition that I'm being targeted, even though I am. So that's just something for you to chew on, okay? Now, I don't know if you just saw that slate thing go over here. You would not believe what I know concerning what's going on with, well, let's just put it this way. I'm aware of a specific targeted individual who is aware of specific things being put in trees. Trust me, folks. If you knew what I know, you'd have no problem whatsoever believing that. Oh, absolutely. Check it out. All right, listen. Now, the vast majority of all targeted individuals, okay, across the United States, I'm not even going to comment on what the home screen is picking up. Across the United States and even in other countries, they always, okay, want to know who the actual idiots, who are the actual extreme criminals are responsible for the targeting of them. They want to know them by names for sure, absolutely. Make no mistake about that ever. Oh, absolutely. So they want to know that. And by the way, right now I am not moving this phone, not even a millimeter. But I got to move it right now because I'm sitting on uneven ground. It's real hard to find flat ground concerning the area I'm at right now because the entire area pretty much almost is uneven ground. So, anyways, all right. So, to make a long story short, all targeted individuals want to know who's targeting them, who's responsible for all past, current, and absolutely future crimes that we're going to endure on a daily basis. Because this crime is demonic beyond verbal description. Oh, absolutely, it is completely and totally, dementedly criminally insane. hosted by some of the most depraved psychopaths that have literally ever walked this planet. We're talking about people that are fucking out there, man. Fucking Pluto psychos, freaks, gone, gone. Okay, completely gone. Okay, demented. Okay, absolutely. Never, ever, ever forget that. The people that host this crime are thoroughly criminally insane of the highest order. Okay, so, oh, absolutely evil beyond description. So, if you're a human being being victimized by a bunch of demented psychopaths, okay, which absolutely we are, you eventually get put to it, and they'll intentionally push you. Oh, you would not believe what this crime's. I'm trying to stay focused right now, but I'm so used to saying certain things right after I say something that I just said. Okay, it's just the way my brain is recirculating back information. Let's just put it to you this way. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a cognitive reset. I'm just going to stop all that conversation right now and just basically talk to you about the subject matter. Okay? I decided to make this video because I got a little bit of time to kill. And I was listening to a tape recorder, and all targeted individuals, we all want to know who is specifically targeting us, which means we want to know their names. Absolutely. Okay? But we also want to know what employment description they are absolutely specifically connected to and perpetrating their crimes through. Okay? Absolutely. This is natural. That would be natural for anybody who's a crime victim to want to know who who the persons are who are victimizing them. It's completely healthy, completely natural. Absolutely. So excuse me. So what we do, the lucky ones, the ones who survive long enough, we end up discovering a lot of very, 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 very credible, educated material about who the actual perpetrators are, at least by their employment descriptions. Okay, now hold on one second. Alright, I'm going to set this phone down, I'm going to play an audio file. Okay, I want you to listen to this. Okay? Doctors and scientists are some of the main criminal, but who's employing them? Okay, so listen carefully.
So now a lot of people involved at the local, state, and federal level, obviously. But, Dr. Robert Duncan said in his book Project Soul Cancer that it can all be traced back to four main agencies or organizations who are behind it all, at least if you're American. And those four organizations and agencies behind it all start with the Department of Defense, my former employer, who provides all the money, all the funding through their Black Ops budget. Then it's the National Security Agency, which provides the top scientists. But primarily it's the CIA and the DIA, the Central Intelligence Agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency, which provides the contractors, the handlers, the operators, these hive mind teams. They're the ones that are basically responsible for the torture and assassination of mind control victims for the purposes of training, research, and development. It's the CIA and DIA that's targeting and attacking people. And they're using contractors. These government contractors that they're using, these hive mind teams, are mainly cognitive researchers, people who have some degree of expertise in the area of the mind, particularly as it relates to memory and thought process. So you're talking about these hive mind teams, these government contractors, these cognitive researchers being psychiatrists, psychologists, neuroscientists, behavioral scientists, and so on. And they are mainly responsible for the training, research, and development behind all of this. And, they operate in what are called hive mind teams. These hive mind teams are dedicated to the victim, the target. Now, not everyone has hive mind teams that are dedicated to them. Most people are just remotely tied to a supercomputer, and we'll get into that shortly.
Now, you're talking about TIs. Some TIs have a hive mind team working them. That's what you're saying.
Right. Well, as soon as a person is selected for this all the empty or available apartments, homes, offices, hotel rooms, etc., in and around there.
Oh, they're snapped right up. Yeah.
Right. They're leased, they're subleased. Then the hive mind teams move in, the surveillance teams move in, on and on down to the organized stalkers at the street level surround the victim, and they keep the victim at that point in what's called a floating box. It's called a psychotronic concentration camp. The science behind mind control technologies is called psychophysics. The technology behind mind control technologies is called psychotronics. And
Say that again, Brian. That was important, please. Psychophysics and psychotronics. Go ahead.
Psychophysics and psychotronics. The science is psychophysics, the technology is psychotronics. And they're keeping their victims basically boxed in a floating box. And we'll get to that shortly. But I wanted to just start off with, how they're doing it and why. Basically, we know that the four agencies involved are the DOD, CIA, DIA, and then the NSA. But those handlers and operators that are dedicated to the victim every 8 hours, they work in shifts. Not all targeted individuals have hive mind teams. The majority don't have hive mind teams which are dedicated to them, but most trauma-based mind control victims do have hive mind teams dedicated to them. And they work in an 8-hour shift with some degree of overlap.
This is also referring to the general term of gang stalking. Understand that. This is what gang stalking is fueled by. Hive mind teams. Go ahead.
The hive mind teams direct the paradigm against the target individual, the mind control victim, for training, research, and development. They're the ones that control the surveillance teams below them, on down to the organized stalkers at the street level. They're hiding behind and using law enforcement agencies and other government agencies and organizations to do their dirty work to achieve their objectives. Basically, the hive mind teams are using two interfaces. Okay, they're using what's called a brain-to-computer interface, and secondly, they're using what's called an electronic brain-to-brain interface. The brain-to-computer interface is simply the supercomputer. Okay, so what they do is they move close to the victim. The hive mind teams will move close to the victim. They will obtain remotely a brainwave, the digital brainwave signature of the victim, the digital brainwave imprint, similar to an EEG readout you would get at a hospital. They're able to obtain that remotely. And then once they have that digital brainwave imprint, that digital copy of your brainwave signature,
It's like a fingerprint.
they upload that.
Like a fingerprint. Okay.
Right. It's unique to every person, just like a set of fingerprints. Nobody has the same brainwave signature. Okay, they can take that digital brainwave imprint, that brainwave signature, and they upload it to their supercomputer. And then they remotely tie, that's the key word to understand, they remotely tie the victim for life to that supercomputer wirelessly, remotely, by way of a bidirectional stream of electromagnetic low-frequency waves, specifically tuned to the brainwave signature of the victim. That stream contains a hidden carrier frequency. I should call it a bit stream. It contains data, okay? That hidden carrier frequency, that pulse train.
ELF bit stream of data.
Right. The bit stream they're using is specifically tuned to the brainwave signature of the victim so that they can interact with the brainwave pattern.
Got it.
And manipulate the brainwaves of the victim. So,
Okay, good question. May I jump in here?
Of course, go right ahead.
We've established that everybody has a brainwave frequency signature. That is clocked. It's uploaded into the supercomputers ultimately everybody will be in there, or most everybody. Can they not use that, we'll call it an address, that electromagnetic signature frequency of the particular person, that brain, that's their address. Can they not generically, through, let's say, 5G or 4G or the electric grid or ELF transmissions or satellites, they can just kind of like a shotgun put out their bit stream, and only that brain will actually receive it. Wherever that person, they don't have to have the person necessarily in a floating box. He could be in the next town over.
absolutely necessary. They have to surround the victim.
You can't move forward without verification. I got you.
Right, but this stream, this bidirectional stream of energy, which they can upload, download at the speed of light, it's called the information and injection feedback loop. Okay, so they can inject at the speed of light, and energy travels at the speed of light. So by modulation of the phase, the frequency, and amplitude of that stream, they can begin to manipulate the brainwaves of the victim. What's happening is that they remotely tie the victim they're using, to answer your question, they're using 3 platforms. 5G, to the best of my knowledge, is not necessary or required for mind control technologies to work properly. Now, there's a lot of infrastructure involved. I don't understand all that. I would refer you back to Dr. Robert Duncan and the other scientists who are involved. But this stream is an extremely low frequency, electromagnetic low frequency waves that are specifically tuned to the brainwave signature of the victims. You're talking micrograms. Okay?
Sure.
It could not be 5G. But the 3 platforms they're using to target their victims, people want to know how they're being targeted. They think they're being targeted with towers or satellites. No, you're not. You're not being targeted. They say they're being attacked with towers or satellites. No, you are not. They are simply the relay devices. You're being attacked by a supercomputer. The supercomputer begins to monitor all electromagnetic activity of the victim's brain by way of this bidirectional stream of energy. And it begins to monitor and download all that information back into its database. So any set of brain waves can be captured, held, and perpetually replayed in the victim's brain. So what the system is doing is it's copying all the brain waves of the victim, and it's downloading them back into its system and building within the database.
Wow. They are actually, they have a complete 4D model of the brain and the psyche and everything else of the targeted individual. This is fascinating. We have to take a break, Brad. Hold on. At the rudimentary baseline of a lot of people that end up in this awful matrix of electromagnetic frequency hell is satanic ritual abuse, trauma-based induction into this program.
Okay, folks, now, trust me when I say I could play a whole lot more about that from that audio file, but I got other stuff I got to do today. I got to try and get a hold of certain types of medical specialists, and I want you to also know that it is massively reported and even increasingly reported that the vast majority of trauma-based mind control targets, and you better believe I'm one, absolutely, oh my gosh, you would not believe what I endure on a daily basis. You just would literally not believe it, absolutely. My life has been completely and totally destroyed. These sick, vile horrors that are targeting me are controlling literally every aspect of my life. Oh, absolutely, every aspect of it. Okay, where I go shopping, where I go to sit at the bus stop, everything. And I mean everything. Where I end up living at because of these, you wouldn't believe the tweets I see on Twitter every day about this crime. Oh, absolutely. Including the vast majority of, you know what? See, when you're a targeted individual, you can be experiencing different levels of targeting that the program will affect upon you. I am at one of the higher levels, make no mistake about it, but I am seeing a lot of people who are being targeted. They might be at lower levels, but it doesn't mean, though, that they're still not experiencing some of the things that I'm still experiencing, because what you got to understand about this program, and I could talk about this for hours, oh, absolutely, easily, and I'll make some more videos about this so you can hear more audio from that tape recorder, sorry, so you can hear more audio from that tape recorder, from that particular audio file. That person you heard being interviewed was Brian Tew, which, by the way, he has sued SDPD out here and the FBI, and he was gang stalked all over the place. Oh, absolutely. The last time I seen a video of his, he was in the hospital because they target your back. They're targeting my back like you would not believe. You would not believe the different areas of my body they're targeting. It is brutal to the maximum extreme, absolutely. So that was Brian Tew. He's an ex-DOD contractor, and he has done years and years and years of research into this crime, including buying through going through massive materials posted by other people who used to work in the intel agencies that helped develop these technologies. So trust me when I say from all the Brian Two's exposures that I have seen up to this date, I only disagree with about maybe 0.1%. Okay, and I could actually even be wrong about that. Everything else, absolutely. So I want you to know, that, look, folks, keep in mind, the system is corrupt as hell. It's criminal as hell. It's sad and it's unfortunate, but that is the way of life right now. Absolutely. And I'm not saying there's not good people in government that would like to do the right thing. Okay. Okay. I'm not saying there's not good people in law enforcement that would like to see a lot of the bullshit that's going on in our communities change. Okay. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know if there's any, to be totally honest with you, I frankly don't know if there's any good police officers in SDPD or SDSD, but it wouldn't matter if there is, because this program controls it all. It controls it all. It controls state governments. Oh, absolutely. County and city governments. Okay. It controls city councils. It controls everything. Absolutely. So when you look at how they will use the police and the government against you locally, and businesses and much more, libraries and much more, then how are you going to get help when the very places you should be getting help through, okay, are the ones that will target you and take you to second and third places? Oh, absolutely. Okay, so other targeting can happen to you. So anyways, I wanted to include the audio. I'll play a little bit more of it, okay, for a few more minutes here. Okay, so listen on. Do you notice how they mention gang stalking? Okay. The community-based gang stalking is being managed by and through, okay, the hive mind teams, who then use middlemen to do it. Now, the police and them being controlled is below the hive mind teams. So basically, so when the hive mind teams need the police to do something against the victim, they're just notified and told what to do and where to go. And that includes during any type of staged event. They're told what to do, where to go, when to go, and when not to go. Like if you call them up, oh God, you would not believe what I know. Oh, absolutely. So anyways, the point being here is that the demented bastards that are running this program, okay, and let me tie up a statement I wanted to make tie up here a couple minutes ago. I didn't tie it off. The vast majority, there's massive amounts of people who are also being tortured and controlled through non-consensual biomedical implants directly connected to this crime. Because remember, what did Brian 2 state? That one of the two main things that the demented, demonic, criminally insane of the highest order doctors are involved in is memory management, okay, and behavior management. Now, you better believe down to the most innate fiber of your being that implants are assisting in that. Absolutely. And we're talking about one victim can have massive amounts of different implants in them. Oh, absolutely. Now, so, anyways, so I'll play a few more minutes of this, and I gotta let you go because I got stuff to do. So listen carefully. The people who are doing the torture, including the non-stop, everyday, non-stop torture, including through implants, okay, all right, and the remote neuromonitoring and the directed energy weapons and everything are directly connected to the people who host the community-based gang stalking. The crime, both of them are intimately connected. Intimately.
Let's not forget that, and that is certainly linked to institutionalized, weaponized pedophilia from the church to the boardroom and everywhere in between. It is just a horribly ugly, dark situation. Back in a minute with Brian 2. Okay, welcome back. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, to answer your question about the hotline teams, people want to know where they are, where they're coming from. They're not in some underground base somewhere. They're in every town, every city in America. They're hiding in plain sight. The best secret is that which is hidden in plain sight. And these hotline teams are hiding in plain sight. They're the psychiatrists at the local mental hospital. They're the psychologists at the local children's clinic. They're the neuroscientists at the local university, etc. Okay, they're hiding in plain sight, and that's these cognitive researchers are the ones that are responsible for a lot of the torture and assassination that goes on for the purposes of training, research, and development in mind control technologies. They're using two interfaces, like we said, the brain-to-computer interface. That's the supercomputer. The sophisticated and advanced exascale system downloads all of your, all electromagnetic activity, all these synaptic responses, the electromagnetic emissions of the victim's brain is downloaded at the speed of light. Energy travels at the speed of light, so they can download, upload at the speed of light. Sure. Back into a database as they build, as a supercomputer is programmed to build using various software programs, a cognitive model of your brain.
Okay, so one of the ways that they do this is that let me help you understand. Once they latch onto the brain by basically sending a carrier wave to the electromagnetic emission that comes from the brain wave of the brain, and what they're doing is they're linking it with an electromagnetic wave, and then that way they can then keep that going in a loop. It's the simplest way to explain it, okay? So they keep it going in a loop, and this programming the mental substrate, which means programming neural pathways, programming neural networks, is one of the main things they're after on a non-stop basis. Now, they want to program the entire mental substrate of the human brain, which means all your neural pathways, which then result in creating neural networks, because your neural pathways, your brain waves, can go into different areas of the brain, like the primary motor cortex, the premotor cortex, okay, the neocortex, okay, the thalamus, okay, the occipital lobe, the whole 9 yards. Your brain's features and functions is where they're tying the association cortex, everything. So when it uses the community-based gang stalking, what it will do, oh God, there's so much, I'm trying to condense details here, so bear with me. So let me give an example, an example about what this crime will do. When this crime wants to create a looped neural brainwave, okay, what it will do is that it will it will purposely allow you, because they need you to notice it, they will purposely force you to notice that you're being gang stalked by role players. You eventually realize that they're nothing but role players. But you see, a lot of times when your initial community-based gang stalking starts, they'll intentionally put you in extreme brain trauma. Okay? Oh, absolutely. And so you end up being cognitively impaired while you're enduring everything you're enduring through the community-based gang stalking. And then you might find out that what you're experiencing is connected to a crime that's called gang stalking. So they want you to believe that everybody that's playing a role in the community-based gang stalking is a gang stalker. No, they're just role players. But most targets don't got that figured out yet. Okay? Because their brain is already in an intentionally induced traumatic brain injury, actually, every single day as a result of this link between the supercomputer and the brain itself. And it can absolutely take place through implants that will assist it, like neuroprosthetic implants that can go in the brain and or ear, absolutely. Non-consensual cochlear implants, so they can send sick sadistic shit, okay, for your auditory cortex to process, okay, and much, 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 much more. So when you go out and about in the community, and you go to the grocery store, and the crime will use the manager, the employees, and fake customers. And they'll stage shit in order to make you hyper vigilant about, okay, well, where's this event going to happen? What will this event lead to? Will it lead to an assault, an arrest, a banning, or a combination of all three? And the reason why the target will one of the reasons why the target will have that in real time concern is because they already experienced it at one or two or more other grocery stores. Okay, when certain, yeah. Uh, so what they'll basically do is one of the ways that they let the target know that the current event is because of being gang stalked is because of the things that the role players will do when you're experiencing the event. Something like color coding things they're wearing and or carrying, certain color coding, certain physical gestures that they force the target to see before, during, and after the event, certain words and phrases said. Okay. Now, when the victim is then presented with the color coding and or the words or phrases and or the physical gestures, when the victim's brain recognizes it through their sight and their hearing, it then excites the memory reference connected to it, which in turn and what excites that? The spike of the electromagnetic emission of the brain wave that the previous memories are on from the prior staged identical events at prior grocery stores. So do you see how it works? So in other words, if they stage an event like at a Ross grocery store, okay, and during the event, okay, the people who have played a role in the event, including the manager and the employee and then the customer, they'll either be wearing black and white, yellow and black, okay, yellow and black, red and white, blue and white. It's just crazy stuff. But trust me, it's absolutely the main factors of it. It sounds bizarre, but just trust me, it's the main factors of it. Absolutely. Because what you got to understand here, and I'll make another video about this so I can explain it in more in-depth detail. So basically, because what you got to understand here is that, in part, the gang of gang stalking is where this crime will just overwhelm your senses, mainly through your sight and your hearing, when you first become a victim, while the rest of your life is being destroyed and you're constantly trying to rise above all those effects and circumstances, like being made homeless, having no car because they staged vehicle accidents. So you're trying to survive all that on top of the everyday non-stop assaults through directed energy weapons and all that other shit, infrasound, ultrasound. Then when you go out, you experience this dumbass community-based gang stalking where they're just basically using role players. But you see, one thing you gotta understand, though, is that when you're enduring a staged event, at any point within it, and even throughout it, you can be hit with these neural weapons, where they'll do things to try